107.5 The Game Podcasting is sponsored by Modern Exterminating, a family-oriented company. Professional, honest, and dependable pest control solutions. We're your one-stop shop for all pests.
Yesterday, the NCAA changing now the transfer portal, Tyler had January 2nd through the 16th. There will be a smaller window, and that will be how we go about handling the transfer portal.
Yeah, this is something that we've kind of knew was going to happen for a while because traditionally the past couple of years you've had the December portal window, you've had the spring portal window, and they wanted to consolidate it into one to, if nothing else, make the life easier on coaches a little bit because the month of December has been chaotic enough. So you're going to have it open on January 2nd, close on January the 16th. Now, for teams that make it farther in the postseason, like the playoff, you'll have another 5-day window once your season officially ends coming up later in January. But for most people, or most teams, you're going to have to do this right after the season ends there on January the 2nd. And, again, it just consolidates it a little bit more. I do wonder the effect this is going to have on things like spring games, where you're not going to have a spring portal window after spring practice anymore and that kind of stuff. But this is something that coaches have wanted really badly, and now it comes to fruition. And, we'll see what effects that has on how you manage and build your roster in the month of January now.
Yeah, I do think there should be a spring portal. I'm of the opinion there should be a spring portal for kids that want to stick it out through the winter. After let's just say after a season, and a coach says, listen, go through spring ball and let's see where you line, where you fit, and then you go through your 15 practices and you go, no, they're still not giving me an opportunity, or I'm still down the depth chart or whatever. I think there should be a spring. I think the end of April, you could do it from, April 16th to April 30th, from, whatever, something like that, and wrap it up. Looking around the world of college football, it's going to be another really good weekend, and I guess, Tyler, it technically gets started again tonight. Middle Tennessee hosting Missouri State and UTEP hosting Liberty. But for some teams, for some fan bases, it's sad. The month is the rest of the season is just not the same anymore after high expectations.
Yeah, when you look at three teams and, Texas, Penn State, and Clemson that all started the year off in the AP top 5 and all had legitimate national championship aspirations, for all of them to sit here a month into the season unranked is definitely eye-popping for sure. And all of those fan bases are suffering to some degree and dabbling in misery. I just don't know. The debate becomes of which one's the most miserable right now, because you can make a strong case for all three.
Oh, no, it's easy.
Think so?
Listen. Texas is not out of this thing.
Right.
Okay? 2 losses in this day and age does not eliminate you yet. Now, that doesn't mean you can't be objective and look at your football team and be like, I don't see how we're getting through the rest of the season unscathed. I get that. Like, if we're talking about that with South Carolina, right?
Sure.
Like, South Carolina, everything is still on the table.
Yep.
What, do I think they go 7-0? No, wouldn't dare risk spinning the wheel of agony on it, or whatever we're going to call it. South Carolina's not built to get behind.
Yeah.
LSU right now is not mentally built, I think, to get behind. I think South Carolina's mentally if this makes sense, I think South Carolina's the mentally tougher team, but LSU is just right now the better team in terms of if something happened,
sure,
they can get things clicking and going.
Definitely so. And I brought this point up yesterday, and Beamer, alluded to that environment and how tough those fans are going to be, obviously, where if you can manage, and Shula's done a phenomenal job with his opening drives and scripted drives, being able to score, you get an early touchdown on your opening drive, you can force LSU to punt. You go down, and let's say you get a field goal and go up 10-0 and force LSU into a 3-and-out. You can turn that crowd against them pretty quickly because they're already frustrated. Again, I went through their message boards yesterday, and, everybody's talking about the offense. What's wrong with Nussmeier? We need a new OC. Brian Kelly's not doing this. The run game's not doing that. They're at a fever pitch right now in terms of where their offense is going into this bye week. So if you can take the crowd out of this early in the game by holding their offense at bay and scoring yourself, you can really take the crowd out of this. And that could be a huge factor in how 4 quarters end up going on Saturday. They're going to score some points, and Carolina will probably score some points as well. But getting an early lead on them for a team that, again, doesn't score at a high clip like LSU does could end up being the key in this game.